You're listening to the Fully Loaded Podcast with your hosts, JC Cornell and Samir Ali.
Welcome back to Fully Loaded. This is your host, JC Cornell. I'm with Samir Ali as always. And this is the first episode. We are officially a part of the 813 network that we launched this past week. It's very exciting news, and it's right on time for this Buccaneers season. Samir, how are we feeling? It's football weekend.
Yeah, man. I look like I'm in the cave right now. I've gotten through a couple of weeks of hard work to get us to where we're at. Obviously, everyone pulling their weight, doing their thing. So, yeah, dude, week one is finally here, JC. It's about time. I can't wait, dude. I'm excited. We got a little bit of taste last night with the Chiefs and the Ravens, so this is going to be awesome to see it on Sunday.
So I wanted to start out with this. Commanders game on Sunday, 4:25. I think Baker Mayfield has a chance to make a serious statement game for the national media and just in general that he's here. He's the franchise quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think if he goes out and throws for 250, couple touchdowns, and the running game controls the game and they just look dominant, that would be huge for the Bucs in general.
Yeah, I had this feeling leading up to this, to the training camp, and then you saw a little bit of it in preseason when we got to see them in that one drive, that Baker had a chip on his shoulder like always, but on top of that, this I'm comfortable. I'm where I'm supposed to be. This is my team. And now he's going to kind of take it over a little bit more. And Liam has an offense that is allowing him to do that. He said in a couple of comments yesterday that he's going to give these guys, ways out of the play so that they always have answers and that they're not stuck at the line of scrimmage, whether it's a run, a pass. And that kind of felt like they were taking a shot at maybe Dave not providing those guys that outlet or that option, that audible or change the play. So to see Baker have that kind of freedom on top of what he's already capable of, in my opinion, I do see that this could be one of those, punch the media in the face type of scenarios for Baker. Come out there, not do too much because he's not in a scenario where he has to do everything. Liam's going to give him this running game that we've finally been, we've been yearning for. And that's just going to open things up. And Baker's going to have, in my opinion, he's going to be in the MVP conversation this season. But it'll start with week one against an opponent like this. You can't take him lightly, but I think Baker's ready, man. I think he's ready, honestly.
Baker's got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jaylen McMillan, Trey Palmer, Cade Otton. Who knows what the rookie Culp can do in this offense? And then he can dump it down to Rashad and Bucky. I mean, this team, and then along with the offensive line, adding Graham Barton, and just this line could be dominant for him. He could have a ton of time in the pocket, open running lanes for the running backs. This could be a lot of fun to watch. Yeah,
man. Just the weapons that he's going to have. The scheme that is putting these guys in a position to win, creating mismatches, everything that Liam talked about, everything that we complained about with Dave all last year, it all just seems to be falling into place. Of course, they got to play the game, JC, right? We could talk about this. It's all rainbows and sunshine until they get on the field and there's a real defense, there's real bullets flying. I have confidence, though, and it seems like Baker does and these guys do, and they're ready to fight for him. They're ready to go, run through walls for Todd Bowles and Liam Coen. So, the sky's the limit, honestly. The sky's the limit.
Before I get to the next subject, I really think this is the Bucs' best roster since the Super Bowl winning year. I mean, we'll get to it later, but I want to make that statement. This is a great roster. I think if they get hot at the right time at the end of the season, there's no reason that it can't be a contender in this league.
Yeah, dude, this roster, I think, could be right up there with that year. Even better, like the Super Bowl year, the roster, the season after that was actually better, in my opinion. So if the Bucs can get to that type of productivity on offense, I mean, holy shit, dude. We have, I know I'm supposed to curse on this podcast, but we have the defensive players in my mind, that Jordan Whitehead coming back to where things can kind of, complement each other a little bit more. And I think that last year the defense needed more from the offense. And now maybe the defense needs the offense to carry a little bit to get things up to speed for some of these guys on the other side of the ball. But man, yeah, I agree with you. This could be potentially the best offense the Bucs have ever had, which is wild considering we had Tom Brady.
So speaking of statement games, could be a statement game for Liam Coen. Liam Coen's taking over as the offensive coordinator for Dave Canales. Canales goes to the Panthers as the head coach. Liam Coen, great resume under the McVay tree. If you haven't checked out Carter Donick on the 813's breakdown of his playbook, it's pretty impressive. This guy's going to bring a lot of stuff to this offense. And honestly, this is a huge opportunity for him. He's never been calling he has called plays, but not with this kind of offense. And he was under McVay, and McVay was calling the plays for the Rams. This is a whole, I just hope this guy succeeds and he's here for a long, long time.
Yeah, I think he's built up enough of this confidence with people like us, the fans, and some of the media members who've been covering it, to where I'm expecting some big things from Liam. And everything they've talked about all offseason, training camp, preseason, and leading up to this week, and the players are even excited, is the run game. And if so from Liam Coen's debut game this Sunday, I want to see the run game. I want to see the creativity in motion to create running lanes. I want to see the creativity in how they create those running lanes for these guys with the blocking scheme, running outside zone, inside zone, like the mixing up of all these things. We saw it in the preseason, JC. You could tell that the offensive line understood what they were supposed to do. The running backs knew where they were supposed to go. They were hitting the line with an expectation of the hole being where it's supposed to be. So it just feels like more of a powerful punch you in the mouth type of approach, as opposed to Dave, which is like, let's just run it until it works, no matter what we see in front of us. And I think, like I said earlier, Liam providing answers to a lot of the questions for these guys, and a guy like Graham Barton having to make checks and calls at the line of scrimmage. He's going to have his ups and downs, but all those things kind of encompassing everything about the Liam Coen offense, dude. Oh man, I'm like, I don't think I've been this excited about a coach before. He's not even the head coach.
So this kind of brings up Rashad and Bucky and even Sean Tucker. These holes, I was saying, these holes they're going to see, Buccaneers fans are not going to be familiar with these holes whatsoever. I mean, Rashad can run free. We saw in the preseason game, he was getting like 7-8 yards per carry with just running. He's so powerful. And then Bucky is just making so many defenders miss. They said they're going to ride the hot hand, which is interesting. I still think, Rashad gets more touches than Bucky Irving, but it sounds like, these guys are dangerous. Sean Tucker's dangerous too. I think this could be the best running back duo since Dunn and Allstott. I mean, Bucky's got to play an NFL game first, but the talent that they have is just out of this world.
Yeah, I think it was last year there was a frustration where if Chase had, a really good drive, the next drive it was like whoever was supposed to be slated in to go would go, as opposed to, if he's doing well, just keep him in. Same thing where Rashad would have a couple of good runs, we'd end up punting or we wouldn't score, we get a field goal. Next drive, you're like, all right, let's keep carrying that momentum. Next thing you know, we got a different guy in there. So absolutely, it makes no sense to pull the guy that's that's on fire at that point. So I think that has to be done no matter what. A lot of teams do that. I don't know why we've been struggling to figure that out, but dude, like I said, to see the way they've been blocking and the confidence behind hitting the hole, as opposed to pitter pattering and tiptoeing in the backfield, hoping you don't get tackled, not knowing what's going to happen. That, from a running back perspective, means that they're confident in what they're expecting to be in front of them, as opposed to hoping and wishing. And, and that's what I thought we saw a lot of from Rashad in the beginning, where he just seemed, uncertain, indecisive, and feel like you see hit the hole. There's no hole to hit. So what did you want him to do? And if the other times he would get the ball, he's almost tackled immediately. So to see that progression from what we had last year to this, to seeing where those gaps are going to be, understanding the running lanes, and for the linemen to be providing that, Rashad and Bucky are going to have some fun, man. And I think, did you not find it a little interesting in the preseason, JC, that Bucky didn't do much of anything other than just run the ball, as opposed to, some gadgety stuff? No, we didn't see him get a screen pass really, other than the first two throws, I think, of the entire preseason with Kyle Trask. We didn't really toss him the ball. So I had this feeling that there's some special packages put together for him to sneak out. I would love to see him and Rashad in the backfield together. I mean, see him split out wide. I don't think we saw him split out wide in the preseason either. He has all those capabilities. There makes no sense to not utilize that skill set, especially Liam, who knows how to do that kind of stuff.
So we can rah and love everything about this team, but the reality is we have to talk about some certain things that could be of concern. When I look at this roster, I really don't see a hole. I think at left guard, Brennansen's going to do a serviceable job. I don't think we're going to have issues with him at left guard, but I worry a little bit about Zion McCollum. He is the only question mark in my eyes really on this roster that could be a problem. But then again, if he performs, then we're golden. It's a big role for him. Carlton Davis gets traded to Detroit. He's immediately plugged in as the starting corner opposite Jamel Dean. And they really didn't go after any outside corners in the draft when they had chances to. So clearly Bowles is confident in Zion McCollum. And you know what? Hopefully he proves Bowles correct.
Yeah, I think they have a confidence about not just Zion, but I think they're comfortable with the guys behind him if there is injury. So I think they like Hall that they got from the Jets. I think they're very, very comfortable with a lot of the guys that are in the building. You got obviously Tyke and you got Izzian who can kind of, rotate around a couple of different spots. But back to Zion, I'm with you. I'm a little uncomfortable. I saw him in his rookie year and he had tackling issues. But then the next year he came in, he seemed to, have worked on that and he got better. Then in time he got to play last year, which is a lot more than people realize with the injuries to Jamel and injuries to Carlton. I think they got a taste of who he could be. He had his ups and downs, don't get me wrong, but he also had games where he was like, wow, this guy could be a starting cornerback in this league. Is he cornerback too? That you can still get picked on, obviously. I don't know, but the confidence that not only he gives off, but the coaching staff, these guys aren't going to just, sometimes they're going to blow smoke up your, but other times you just got to take what they say for face value. And they're very confident in him and his teammates are confident in him. And that tells me that he has done it in front of them and he's shown them that potential and that they're confident he's going to actually come out there and perform when it matters most. We saw it last year. He had a couple of games where he just looked like a very, very much so like a starting corner in the league. So if he can put it all together, he's gotten a whole off season where he's preparing as a starter, the confidence of the coaching staff telling him he's the starter. That's a big thing. That goes a long way after coming off your rookie year when everyone's like, you couldn't tackle, you couldn't cover, you looked absolutely lost and confused. That's a different mindset. Confidence from outside in is a massive thing, and I think that's what's going to play into it. But like you said, JC, if he has a great season or just a good start to this season, the Bucs really don't have a hole, man, other than maybe the outside rush, but getting to the quarterback. But if the corners play well, that helps the pass rush. And if the pass rush plays well, it's going to help Zion. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It's awesome that we get to do it against a rookie quarterback in week 1, though.
So I will say this. With Zion McCollum, yeah, just close the door. No, I'm recording a show. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. You can edit that, right?
Yeah.
That's a worker just walked in my room. Okay. Yeah. What I will say about Zion is this Commanders game is a perfect game for him to get comfortable. They have obviously Terry McLaurin on one side, which probably Jamel Dean's going to cover him. And then I'll say they really don't have a wide receiver too that's known except for Luke McCaffrey, Christian McCaffrey's brother, which, yeah, he comes from that McCaffrey family. He's fast, but he's inexperienced. And, we drafted Zion as a project. And clearly that's what they saw, and they saw the potential in him, and hopefully he's going to show his potential and be a great starter for us. Yeah,
I mean, it looks like they had a 2-3 year plan in place, and they said, hey, this is the time to do it. Let's go all in. They don't have a wide receiver too with Washington, but it'll be interesting to see how they utilize guys in the slot and taking advantage of mismatches like that. But again, I think we have so much of that stuff kind of locked in. We have Izzian out there who's shown he can play. We have Jordan Whitehead who can play all over the field. Obviously, Antoine, best safety in the league. I'm excited about Tyke. We've talked about him the entire offseason. He's going to see the field. He's going to get mismatches. He's going to get chances to make plays. So it just feels like there's so many pieces back there that can help Zion, that Zion just has to do his job. And I don't anticipate that they're going to play a lot of that soft coverage they played last year, JC, because I think that safety issue that they had last year was the main reason they had to do that. And then the injuries at linebacker, then the injuries at the defensive line, to where they're like, let's just try to stop the bleeding as much as possible and play off. You let Zion and Jamel do what they do, and they know they have a confident duo behind them that's going to have their back if they get beat. It's a different ball game for this defense, a completely different ball game. Speaking
of that duo, there's been quotes in the locker room saying like Whitehead and Winfield are like twin brothers back there. They're just such on the same page, and how big it is to have Whitehead back. I mean, This could be a top safety tandem, if not maybe the best safety tandem in the NFL. Whitehead is just always under the radar for some reason. Even on the Jets, the guys on Twitter posting highlights of himself like, why is nobody seeing this? How is nobody seeing what I'm doing? I'm playing at a Pro Bowl level at strong safety, and I'm getting no love whatsoever from the national media. No one's paying attention to me. And he gets back to the Bucs now, and I talked to him at an event last week. What a nice guy. Legit, talked to him for like 15 minutes. Cool dude, just shooting the shit with me. Couldn't be like any better of a person. And it just pumps me up, man. That's what you're saying. Zion's got those two guys behind him. So even if he makes some mistakes, he's got that tandem protecting him.
Yeah. And when he signed with the Bucs, and he had that press conference, he talked about how close he and Winfield had become. And when he was here, they kind of grew up together. Then he goes to the Jets, but he spoke about how they have almost a silent communication between the two of them, which is huge. It's like the point guard knowing what a center likes to do, or the quarterback knowing what his wide receiver likes to do, and vice versa. Two safeties back there who understand what each of them like to do, what they're going to do when they see certain things, and not having to even look at each other. That is massive compared to what we last year, where everyone was trying to help out Ryan Neal. Dude, you're not supposed to be there. You're supposed to be over here. And the communication was the thing we heard about after every game from Todd Bowles. They got to communicate better.
You really have to bring up Ryan Neal, bro?
I'm just saying they had to communicate better. We heard all season. And now you have guys back there who can silently communicate. And then and I don't know how much you pay attention to like SiriusXM radio, but NFL on SiriusXM has a really, really cool show towards the end of the afternoon. I think it's at 3:00, and they break down every single position group across every single team in the entire NFL. And the Bucs secondary was so far ahead, and they were the best rated secondary by these two hosts who take their job very seriously. By the way, it's not just Mickey Mouse type of grading system. It's how the NFL actually, the GMs and coaches grade their rooms. And the Bucs secondary room, because of Jordan Whitehead and because of Antoine, made them the top rated secondary in the NFL from on that show. So that's a massive deal, man. In my opinion, it's not something, obviously it's just a ranking, but it speaks again to what we're talking about. These guys are confident back there and they have an understanding. You got two safeties. I'm with you, JC. This should be, and I think will be, the best safety tandem across the entire NFL.
So this wasn't in our show notes or topics, but I just want to bring this up really quick. Yaya Diaby and Kalijah Kancey, year 2. Ooh.
It's going to be fun, dude.
Ooh, let's see that against the Commanders. We'll get into that later, but that's going to be fun. I mean, Kancey next to Vita. We got Yaya. We got JTS. We got Broswell. This should be fireworks
against a rookie quarterback too. Like, he hasn't seen an NFL defense yet. I don't care what you've seen in the preseason. That's not an NFL defense. Now he's going to come in and see an NFL defense with a guy that's massive in Vita Vea. You got Kalijah Kancey, who looks like the Hulk. Then you've got Yaya Diaby, who looks like a freaking alien on top of that. And not only are they trying to kill you, but they're trying to kill you with a mad scientist behind them in Todd Bowles, who's dialing up every exotic package he could possibly put together to confuse this young quarterback. Not only is he going to be running for his life, but he's not even going to know what he's looking at, what he's not looking at. He won't know where they're going to be coming from. And to see those two, like you talked about, Yaya and Kancey together, they're like best friends, dude. The way they act, they're like brothers. They're going to have so much fun in year 2 where they don't have to really think. They're just kind of playing ball, reacting, doing their thing. They're going to play faster. They're going to play better. And we talked to Kalijah at training camp. This dude has so much ridiculous confidence right now, and he feels so much more comfortable having in this offseason under his belt, having an entire training camp, which he didn't have last year, if you guys remember that. He hit the ground running week 1, dude. It is, I'm more excited about Kancey, which is kind of crazy to say because Yaya is a freak, but this guy could be the next Aaron Donald type of player, and we just have him. No one's even talking about him, dude. No one's even mentioning him.
He was another guy I met at this event, and it's kind of crazy, like, to understand how strong and powerful and explosive he is. I was standing next to him, and I didn't think he was that much bigger than me. Like, no, obviously he is, but like, dude, I was like, this is crazy. This guy plays 3 technique at this high of a level. And he's not some Gerald McCoy type, Ndamukong Suh size guy. He's just freaking, he's a rock.
Yeah. I mean, stout, dude. He is stout as hell. For sure.
So I wanted to bring this up. So we watched the Chiefs Ravens game last night. Obviously tiptoe loss. But the immediate impact Xavier Worthy had for the Chiefs on offense, I think we could see something similar with Jaylen McMillan. Listen, we got to feed a lot of people. We have Evans to feed. We have Godwin to feed. But if McMillan's one-on-one and he's open, this guy's going to make plays for us. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's a splash play that he scores a touchdown on. This kid, he's the real deal for this offense.
Yeah, last night they didn't really focus Worthy. It didn't seem like he was a massive part of the game plan. You know, they were throwing the balls mostly to their other starters, right? What's his name? Rice got a lot of balls.
Rice.
Yeah, and they threw the ball obviously to
playing,
Pacheco.
by the way, didn't he just like?
I don't.
Wasn't that like Grand Theft Auto on the freeway? And,
I don't get it.
Roger Goodell's like, well, he's on the Chiefs, so
yeah, it's like when Kamara did what he did, and he just like
and they're like,
I had my boys stomp out a dude in an elevator. Well, yeah, here we are playing week 1. Makes no sense. But I mean, I remember other players getting like suspended while they hadn't even gotten a trial yet, and nothing was even solidified, right? But then so I don't get how this works. So back to my point, Worthy wasn't part of the game plan in terms of like we're gonna feed him the ball. He just had his plays. He had his, you know, they did a little, you know, pick here, pick there, you know, get him to work. And why wouldn't Jaylen McMillan be the same way? Why wouldn't he have an end around? We saw some exotic stuff, some kind of creative stuff from Liam in the preseason. We saw it in camp a little bit too. So I have every reason to believe that there's going to be some sort of end around or pitch or Jaylen McMillan coming out from the backfield, doing something different, something that we've seen McVay do with his guys like Puka Nakua and others of that nature, to where, yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't be surprised if he had a touchdown. Wouldn't be surprised if he had a little crossing route that turns into a touchdown like we saw from Trey Palmer last year in the opening game as well on the road against the Vikings. So, yeah, I mean, is he going to be, 10 catch guy in week 1? Absolutely not. I don't think that's ever going to happen as long as Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are on this team.
I think it's more of like making some impact plays for the offense.
Dude, you get a couple of catches, they turn into first downs, maybe a third catch is a touchdown, or you get a 15, 20-yard end around. That's impact, dude. That's impact day one. Boom. You help your team win. Those plays go a long way and they matter.
And if you're paying attention to preseason, he was catching touchdowns all the time. And Liam Coen in his press conference, they were asking him like, "How are you ready for the debut?" Blah blah blah. He's like, "Listen, I practice every day against a top 5 defense in the NFL. I'll be fine."
Yeah, he was killing him in training camp, dude. He was catching balls from Baker left and right in the end zone against the starters. It wasn't like he was killing Jamel Dean. And that's not even a shot at Jamel at this point. I'm just saying he was killing Jamel Dean, and like he's a rookie. So obviously a lot of expectation for a rookie, but still, like he goes out there, he's a hard worker. Everything from everyone we've talked to has said this kid puts his head down and he works. The first thing he said about camp was my number one goal is to make Baker Mayfield trust me. Kid gets it. He's like, I'm not going to get the ball if the quarterback doesn't freaking like me. I'm going to go out there, make sure he likes me, do my job so he trusts me. I'm always going to be in the spot I'm supposed to be at. That's like 90% of the battle in the NFL at some point. We had wide receivers here, didn't know how to run a comeback route, turn into pick sixes all the time. Not saying they were always their fault, just saying. So, yeah, having McMillan, fresh air, dude, Trey Palmer, same type of guy, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. These guys lay that foundation, that example. These guys come in, and if I'm a hard worker, it's cool. I'll fit right in with these guys, and that's, I think, what he's going to do.
Are we getting fired up a little bit?
I'm getting jacked right now, dude.
Should we stand up? Should we stand up?
I'm about to take my shirt off. It's going to be the first topless, fully loaded, fully topless show.
Oh, so let's move to keys to victories against the Commanders. I'll give you my first one. I think whether it's Bucky, Rashad, whatever, I think this team needs to have over 100 rushing yards on the ground against the Commanders to basically control the clock. Like, what my thing is, get up early, score a touchdown or two early, and then control the clock with these running backs and this offensive line that can just create holes for these running backs.
Yeah, I agree. That's one of my keys right there is run the ball. And then not just when I say run the ball, like, get over 200 yards or over 100 yards. It's more so control the game, control the pace, and make sure that you are ahead of the sticks. Don't make it feel like 3rd and 8 on Baker's shoulder every single drive, because that is not something that you can sustain long term or even throughout an entire game, even though we kind of did it last year for a couple weeks. But control the clock, run the ball. And you know what? When you do get that lead, lean even harder into that running game if you can, and then get out of there, obviously. But the teams that can run the ball while they're down and teams that can run the ball while they're also up, that stuff matters. And for me, you run the ball well, you turn the ball over to your defense, and they can play with a lead. And that's a different ball game for that team and that side of the ball. The Bucs defense didn't play with a lead very often, or much at all last year. It'd be something different to see this season for sure.
No, I'll switch to the defense. I mean, you got to get pressure on Jayden Daniels. And for Jayden Daniels, this is a nightmare debut against Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles is going to throw every different kind of blitz at him. He's going to be pressured all game long, hopefully, which needs to create some turnovers for this Bucs defense. But get pressure on Jayden and just make this game his worst nightmare.
Yeah, they have to. And it doesn't even need to be sacks necessarily because, again, he's a rookie quarterback, JC. But not only that, he's a quarterback that likes to move around. He likes to escape the pocket. And what happens a lot with these younger guys is they tend to leave the pocket sooner than they want to. They get a little confused with what they're seeing. They're like, I don't know what I'm looking at. No one's open. They leave the pocket early. Have that be the game plan. Let's get him to leave the pocket early. Get him to abandon plays because more often than not, if he's confused in the pocket, when he leaves the pocket, it's going to get more confusing. He's going to throw an interception. So you get that pressure, you're going to create good things for the defense. More than likely, it's going to be a sack. A third down, having a punt, or the best, and obviously my favorite would be a turnover, which is going to happen. He's a rookie quarterback. It's just going to happen. And a guy like that, worst case scenario, dude, we're starting against a Todd Bowles defense. And for all the people out there in Bucs Nation who are terrified of facing rookie quarterbacks, since Todd Bowles has arrived, we don't lose that often to these guys. So, calm down. This isn't Tony Dungy. This isn't, Raheem Moore. This is not the same thing. It's not the Greg
Schiano.
Yeah. It's not those years. It's not the Lovie Smith get destroyed by Mariota. We weren't Tennessee ready. None of that. Okay. This is different. This is an exotic approach on defense. It's going to confuse the kid. It just is. And I think he's going to be a stud in the NFL, by the way. But right now, week 1, first ever game, not happening.
So, I mean, here's the thing. There's a lot of people picking the Falcons to win this division with Kirk Cousins debuting on the Falcons. Who knows? Obviously Michael Penix is going to play. They had a very interesting draft. But the Bucs, like we said, their roster is stacked. I mean, people are overlooking how talented this team is. Our expectations as fans, honestly, listen, we've been to the playoffs 4 straight years. All right. We should have no problem winning the NFC South and hopefully getting a bye in the playoffs. This team, I've said it multiple times, 12-5 for me. I see a lot of 10. I see a lot of 10-7. I see a lot of 11-6. I'm sticking 12-5. Yes, we have that rough couple of games in the middle of the season, but I've said it. I think this team could win 6 or 7 straight games to end this season.
Yeah, they have a little bit of a rough one in the beginning, but even if you look at it, really, it's not that difficult. I mean, you got some tough ones. I think the Bucs have circled the Lions game. They didn't forget what happened in Detroit. They want to get to that game.
That's going to be chippy.
Yeah, they want to get to that game. And I'm not saying they're overlooking the first game, but they want to get to that Detroit game. They want to send a message, and I think that's when the Bucs possibly do send that message to everyone else who's been doubting them. And here's my thing, like what Jason Light said. Go ahead. They should be picking the Falcons. That's fine, dude. Yeah, let us run under the radar. We're love
used
that.
to it.
Yeah, you want to give us another chip? We got an entire locker room full of chips, dude. You want to give us some more? Sure, we'll take them. We'll put it up on the board. It doesn't even matter. If you don't think that locker room has rallied around the we aren't the ones being picked, and that Todd Bowles hasn't used it to motivate these guys, hey, they don't expect us to win. Let's go out there and punch people in the mouth. And they figured it out last year. They went through that rough stretch, JC, and I said it to so many people. I said, do you guys not find it odd that we've seen so many of these seasons with rough stretches, and this is the first time we've seen it where there's no dissension in the locker room? There's no issue coming out. There's no rumor. There's no players-only meeting. There's no problem with the head coach from this guy and that guy. That told me these guys didn't have a problem looking in the mirror. So they got through it. They fought for Todd. Todd's job was never on the line. And now we're on the other side of it. On the flip side, these guys know how to fight. It's Baker's team. Dude, I mean, by the end of this episode, JC, I'm going 17-0, okay? That's what's happening, man. There's no reason. There's no reason that they can't win the South, like you said. And you remember, hey, Kirk Cousins, here's what's funny to me, man. All those all those pros and all those guys that know what they're talking about have burned him and ripped him to shreds for so many years about how he can't win the big game, how he's always going to be Kirk Cousins. He goes to the Atlanta Falcons. All of a sudden, he's Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Matthew Stafford.
Wait,
what?
Remember our friend Mad Dog? What did Mad Dog say?
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. When did he go from being Kirk Cousins to being Tom Brady. He's still Kirk Cousins. Now he's Kirk Cousins coming off of an Achilles injury, way too old to be playing ball already, in my opinion. Like, take a deep breath, folks. The Bucs are in the perfect spot. Just drive under the radar. Fine by me.
I'd like one other thing to add to this. So Baker Mayfield, everyone's been saying it, but they're saying, how tight this locker room really is. And I think a lot of that also, Devin White is gone.
Yes.
And what I'll say about Devin White being gone, he brought so much drama. And I remember watching Instagram lives when the guys were getting on the airplane after a win and Devin just going out of his way to say stupid stuff, man. Like, it's just obnoxious. Yeah. And to see what's going on with the Eagles potentially trying to trade him, I mean, that is a fall from grace for him after being on that Super Bowl team where he did play well. But the drama he created off the field for not only this franchise, but whatever he's doing now, not good. But I'll say this, KJ Britt replacing him, I think this entire team, okay, so offense, you can take Baker's mentality, chip on the shoulder mentality. But I think on this defense, you kind of take that KJ Britt attitude, like talking shit. Like, this guy is pissed always. He's at a practice against the Jaguars and he's just getting up in Trevor Lawrence's face, like chest bumping him, like, what's up? We're at joint practice, dog. Like,
we've been missing that, honestly. Since JPP left, we've kind of missed that aggressive dog, just attitude. And JPP didn't have to make plays to impact that team. He just brought you that attitude. He made sure everybody in that huddle knew that we were going to go rip someone's head off, whether you wanted to or not. I'm going to make you rip someone's head off. We're missing that a little bit, right? And people, wanted Devin White to be that guy, but it's hard to listen to a guy like that try to get you hyped up for a game and then go out and miss tackles and not read his coverages right and leave guys wide open and not be able to, sack quarterbacks who have zero athletic ability and let them score from, the 5-yard line in Indianapolis Colts Minshew. So, like, it's hard to do that when that dude's doing what he's doing. You got a guy, KJ Britt, puts his head down, gets his job done, does his job, like, gets the work done. That's what I want. That's great. Levante's like, yeah, I'll let this dude, bark all he wants. He does his job. I'll do my job. Everything's great. And these guys get it, man. And don't discount Kalijah Cansey's attitude, by the way. I think he's got a little bit of dog. He's gonna start growing that a little bit more in there, dude. Yeah, I love KJ's trash talk. I hope they mic him up every week. That'd be great. It'd probably just be nothing but bleeps, but I'll take it. That'd be awesome, dude.
So if you guys are wondering, the Bucs are 3.5-point favorites. I'd hammer that personally. I think this could be a lot of fun to watch. I think, like, this is, like I said, statement game Baker, statement game Liam Coen, statement game defense. Put some respect on our name.
All right, so JC, before we end the show, you're big into sports gambling. You know your way around the NFL when it comes to that. So prop bets for Bucs, Commanders this season. What am I putting into my Hard Rock bet app here after this?
I'm glad you asked. I think this one's an easy one. Jaylen McMillan over 23.5 yards receiving.
Easy.
Love that. By the way, I hit a 3 same game prop last night and a 5 same game prop last night. Just to let you guys know. I think Rachaad White over 83.5 rushing and receiving yards.
Oh,
I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Mike Evans anytime touchdown. I think Baker's going to get Mike one. And then, this is my least confident one. I still think it will hit Baker over 1.5 passing touchdowns. I do think he'll have at least 2 passing touchdowns in this game.
Hey, listen, a screen pass goes for a touchdown. That's a passing touchdown. So
how about that NCAA 25 little push pass?
Yeah.
Let's see if Liam's got that in the playbook.
Hey, listen, dude, Jaylen McMillan, he's more than capable of running that play. And I believe Sean McVay utilizes things like that. I don't know if he does it as a push pass, though. I think it's more of a handoff. But hey, maybe they just got to flip. If he flips it a little bit, I wonder if that'll count as a pass, right? That should be good, right? Because you're not flipping it backwards, so that would technically be a pass. So there you go. I'll just text Liam after the show. Like, hey, listen, I know you guys got the thing. Yeah. Just don't hand it off. Just have Baker kind of flip it, right? So that we can call that a touchdown pass. And then now you're like, now we're really playing, 3D chess here. That'd be solid, dude.
Jet sweep.
Yeah, jet sweep pass. That's what we call it. Pass.
All right, guys, we could probably talk for 2 more hours, but we're excited for this weekend. Commanders at home, 425. You can follow us at the 813 TV, and please subscribe to the 813 TV on YouTube. That's where this fully loaded episode will be, and it will be now for the future. So please like and subscribe, and we're looking forward to this game.
Yes, sir. Go Bucs.